Welcome to the Stack of Stats podcast. It is week 18 of the NFL, and I, of course, got my girl Kelly in Vegas, and we're here to preview week 18 for our contest picks. You know, we have had a pretty good season. We finished 3-2 last week. I'm happy with that because you predicted that we were going to finish 4-1. So instead, of course, that didn't come to fruition, but it was still a good week.
I blame the Texans. That's my fault.
I blame the. Okay, that was our best bet. So yeah, blame both of us here because we had the same one.
Like, I just knew. I woke up Sunday morning and I looked and I go, "You're kidding me." No, sorry, Saturday morning. I woke up Saturday morning and I saw that it was +3, and I'm like, just give me that CLV trophy to go right behind me. This is exactly, I knew exactly how I was going to play. I've seen it just happen too many times where I'm like, great, I got the best of the number. Everybody now loves the Texans. Such as
I'm
life.
not even so much disappointed because you knew early it was not going to happen. So, okay, done. Like, no need to watch. Fair. And my Jags won, so I'm happy. So whatever. I was kind of more disappointed in the Panthers. They were winning, and then Tom Brady just decided to like all of a sudden be good, and then that's been they didn't cover. But they should have. They should have actually won the game. They were up until they weren't.
They weren't. Exactly.
So it is what it is.
Frustrating, you know. Like that is the biggest problem I have with the NFL. Like honestly, like it is. I feel like in college, you don't see that many blown leads. I mean, there is, of course.
Texas.
Leads.
Do you not watch Longhorn games?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just to be expected. But I feel like it's a different animal with the NFL. You could be down 21. You could be down 24. Fourth quarter starts and all hell breaks loose with like 5 minutes left.
Always.
Yes, you do see that from time to time in college football.
The witching hour for a reason.
But yeah, that's exactly why the witching hour exists with that, 1 p.m. Eastern slate, like fourth quarter, everything is going right. And you're like, all hell is about to break loose. I can just feel it. And that's why even, when people were talking trash to me the other week and during the first quarter, I'm like, it's the first quarter. Tell me you've never watched an NFL game before. Like, I get that this is not looking great right now, but you know what? It's not over yet. Unfortunately, I just wanted it to be over and not have to worry about any of it, but it is what it is.
But you know what makes betting so difficult? And it's kind of just like a reminder to like the general public, whoever's listening, this is a reminder. Trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself. Because last week, my original best bet was the Saints. And I was like super high on it. I loved them. I took it myself. And then we had a meeting within the Yahoo group, and 2 people both had the Eagles. And I was like, oh, so I'm probably wrong. Y'all are good. I trust you. Okay, I'm going to switch it. The Saints didn't end up in the public on anything, didn't end up on Twitter, didn't end up on either contest that I'm in. I had my ticket, but that was it in silence. And they not only covered, they won. And of course, I pivoted to the Texans, and it didn't work out. Trust yourself. There's going to be times where you're right and other people are wrong. There's going to be times where other people are right and you're wrong. But you did the research, you did the work. Trust yourself. That's it.
I agree with you. There's a reason why I don't like to talk to that many people.
It's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, I hate talking to other people. That's why I don't watch any news channels, because I don't want to hear their opinions. I don't want them to skew the work that I'm putting in. One of my mentors, Kenny White, one of the very first things he said to me way back in there, I mean, we're talking like 2013. And I said something, and I said, well, Kenny, what about, I think it was like maybe one of the guys next to him in the office or something. And he goes, oh, I trust my numbers more than anything else in the world. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of arrogant. Well, no, he's right. At the time he was probably 50. Now he's like 60. And he's like, my numbers mean the most. My power ratings, everything that I do, because he spends 40 hours a week on them. Of course, he's going to trust that more than another guy's opinion in the office.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are. We've been doing this for a while, and it's still like the hardest thing for me to do is don't look at Twitter on game day. Just submit your picks, do everything online, post it to Twitter, call it a day, and forget don't even care what other people are putting. But then here we are. Week 18 is the final week of the regular season. That means it's the final podcast. So excited. I want another 5-0, Kelly. Let's freaking make it happen.
But then somehow.
But then you text me your list, and I was like,
yeah,
fuck my life.
It's ugly. Well, just so you know, I actually only played one of the games on this list, and I don't even love it, but it is my best bet. The Bears was going to be my best bet. But I was not going to bet my money on Nathan Peterman. I submit my best bet on Wednesday, sometimes Tuesday night, usually Wednesday morning. I submit it. I go flip some laundry, do a couple other things, sit down, go on, get with my producer, and all of a sudden I get a text, Nathan Peterman starting for the Bears. I'm like, well, hell's bells. What am I supposed to do now? Give me like 20 minutes because I had just basically written off every other game on the card.
Right.
But this week 18 is really tough. You mean, you've got teams playing for absolutely nothing. You've got certain guys playing for contract extensions. You got guys playing for other teams to say, hey, you know what? This guy plays really hard. We'd like to sign him. You've got guys looking for their incentive packages, right? We saw Antonio Brown last year. I got a complete jackass because Tom wasn't even attempting to help him get the ball. Like we got the Lions. They got flexed. You and I were texting about this and chimed in with Warren Sharp. The Lions get flexed into Sunday night. Well, that game matters to them right now. But if the Seahawks win, it doesn't matter to them. What a strange.
So here's the thing about that like I'm hearing that narrative a lot that like, they have nothing to play for. You just said all the reasons why players are having something to play for. And it's because these are professionals. They make millions. They want to continue making millions. So you still have to produce, whether it's week 18 or not. There's still some of them, some of their contracts are ending this season, or they want to get it extended, or they want a better team, or maybe they want to move to sunny Florida and leave the cold of New England, whatever it is. They're playing for incentives. They're playing for bonuses. They're playing for better resumes. They're paying to feed their families. So yes, I am a huge believer that these teams don't just like roll up and roly-poly themselves into, well, I'm just going to quit. You can't opt out. This isn't college.
No, they're definitely not opting out. And remember, there's 16 divisional matchups. These teams hate each other.
Yeah.
They want bragging rights. They absolutely want bragging rights. Yeah, they want the ability to be like, you know what? We're not in, but now neither are you. Sucks to suck.
So you said it right now with the Lions. Maybe they don't have anything because Seattle could win. Do you think Dan Campbell wants to play spoiler to Aaron freaking Rodgers?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think the Lions are kind of an exception. Like, there's a couple of really ugly games on the slate that I'm like, do any of these teams care, or they're just begging to have the season be over?
Yeah, that's true too. So we'll get into it. So just a reminder of what it is we're doing. We're putting together 5 against the spread contest picks in the NFL. It is week 18. Automatically in is Kelly's best bet. Automatically in is my best bet. Our best bets on the season. You are 10-6-1. I am 10-7. Overall, we're 44, 38, and 3. Whatever. Let's finish strong. That's all we can do. We're not in the money. We're not here to make millions, obviously. But we did have 1-5-0 this season. I'm going to pat ourselves on the back for that one. We finally got it. Let's make it 2 weeks. Why not? So, Kelly, what is your best bet for week 18?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders plus 9.5. And that's because I'm sifting through trying to figure out what I'm going to do this week. And I guess I just looked at the contest line. It is 9. I do have 9.5 in the pocket. 9 is somewhat of a key number in the NFL. But listen, I was really impressed with what I saw from Jared Stidham and the Raiders last week, since they basically told Derek Carr, like, you're going to have a new home next year. They didn't say that, but they might as well have. Devontae Adams looked absolutely like a freaking stud. Now, I do know that fading the Chiefs is not a fun place to be in. And I know that people hate when I do, but they have been terrible against the AFC West. They've dropped 6 straight against the number, but they've won all 6, right? We know they win these games. I'm not sitting here saying bet the Raiders on the money line,
right?
But Kansas City just has not impressed me as far as against the spread. In particular, here's a great stat from my good friend Mark Lawrence. Since they won the Super Bowl, they are 27-1 in one-score games.
Wow.
What? Against the spread in one-score games? That is just terrible. And I do see this being a one-score game. This is a Raiders team that, as you mentioned, doesn't have anything to play for, but they have the opportunity to really shake some things up in the AFC. I think they have something to capitalize on for next season, since we basically know Derek Carr is going to be gone. Josh McDaniels, well, I love him and hate him. I have this like roller coaster of emotions with him. Sometimes he does really bonehead things that frustrate me. Overall, I think he's going to have his team ready to go here. And that's just because these teams hate each other. And that's kind of what we were alluding to. Also lean towards the over. As you know, Chiefs overs are super fun to bet. But I do think this looks like a possibility of a shootout. I made the game 7.5. So at 9.5, I said, all right, fine. Guess I got to take the Raiders.
Well, there's a couple of reasons why I do like your pick. First off, the Chiefs allowed Russell Wilson 2 of his best games of the season. Russell Wilson has sucked every game of the NFL except when he plays the Chiefs. And so that is kind of really telling of just how susceptible this defense is. But you always kind of forget, how bad the defense is because of how good the offense is and how good Mahomes is. And yeah, it comes into play and it matters. But even though Mahomes has all of the passing yardage, they are still giving up all of the yardage and the points to opponents. The only thing that does not concerns me. I'm trying to close out of Windows here because things are slowing down on my computer. But there's just some interesting notes. The Raiders, they don't have anything to play for. The Chiefs, regardless of between the Bengals and whatever matchup that happened, the Chiefs are playing for the number 1 seed. So this is a must-win game, regardless of that situation. But Mahomes, he's good.
Of course
their
he's
defense
good.
is trash. But their defense is
Yeah,
trash.
and that's the biggest thing here. When I have to say take the better defense plus the points, and the better defense is the Raiders, that tells you all you need to know about how bad the Chiefs defense has been. They have not done Patrick Mahomes and that offense any favors. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes looks like he's making an MVP campaign. Again, they're playing for the 1 seed essentially. They have a lot to play for, but I think this Raiders team wants to go out there, punch him in the mouth. We've seen it so many times where the Raiders, like especially over the last, Patrick Mahomes era, I should say, last 5-6 years with the Chiefs, where they're on the ropes to the Raiders late, kick a game-winning field goal, and all of a sudden everybody at Arrowhead just sighs. And we've seen the Raiders be the team to go into Arrowhead and win. Being in the Death Star in Las Vegas, I definitely think that place is going to be rocking come Saturday morning.
The final week of the NFL is also a week for incentives. It's also the week for records. Mahomes, he's 429 yards short of the all-time record for passing yardage. So that's very tough to do. So people are going to see this. People are going to see stuff like incentives and think that it kind of correlates with the spread. Well, Mahomes, he has had multiple games of 400 plus passing yards. So it is doable because the Raiders defense is complete garbage in that secondary. But you can also look at what Mahomes has done. And in at least one game where he threw 446 yards against the Titans, only won by 3. So it's not out of the question that Mahomes could possibly still hit his record and still not cover a spread. So you have to learn how to differentiate the two. And that both can happen.
I will say this. One of the guys I really trust in the prop market told me he likes Josh Jacobs rushing yards over, which bodes very well against that Chiefs defense, which bodes very well for this Raiders offense to really be able to open up. I think I was very impressed with Jarrett Stidham last week against the Niners. It was one of those games that I didn't even get involved in because you got to sometimes be able to pass the eye test for me. And he did. And hopefully it wasn't a fluke.
So my best bet is going to be the Panthers plus 3.5 to the Saints. I was high on the Saints last week. They've been one of the better teams to back because of that defense, but I am now. This is a good matchup for the Panthers. Last week, both teams are eliminated from the postseason, so you can say, well, they're not playing for anything. They're still playing for pride. We already talked about it. They're playing for everything. These are 2 teams that really didn't have a good season to start out with, and they're both finishing really strong. So don't you think they want to carry some of that momentum into next season, especially since these players, especially the running back crew for the Panthers, are really showing their value not having Christian McCaffrey in the lineup. They really want to prove their worth either for this team or for another team. But Sam Darnold behind center, go freaking figure that Sam Darnold has been pretty freaking good. In the last 5 games, the offense for the Panthers, they're averaging 200 rushing yards per game, 29 points per game, scoring 6 rushing touchdowns in those games. And it's because Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman, not Christian McCaffrey. They have multiple games of 100 plus yards between the two in the last 5. The Saints defense, they gave up 231 yards in a 3-point win to the Falcons. That's a top 3 rushing unit. But even against a less successful run game in the Steelers, which is top 20 rushing offense, they gave up 217 yards. And that's pretty telling that this is a vulnerable defense. Still, it is the passing game that is improved. But so I was talking about how good Sam Darnold is. He leads the NFL in yards per pass attempt. Can you believe that? Sam Darnold.
Wow.
Like,
if you said, Kelly, I'll give you $500 if you get this right, there's no chance in hell I would have picked Sam Darnold.
Sam freaking Darnold. So like this is just insane to me how good the offense has been humming. And maybe last week, I mean, they were up last week against the Bucks. We talked about it. It was within arm's reach, and then Brady just turned on
it's frustrating to see those kind of things happen. And we've seen those fourth quarter comebacks from Tom throughout his career.
Right.
I saw it a couple of weeks ago against the Saints in person, and I'm going, luckily they didn't cover, but I'm going, are you freaking kidding me? Who is going to let him do this? Especially a really solid Saints defense, but they just haven't been that solid in the second half of the season. And who would have thought, like you said, without Christian McCaffrey, that this would be a top 10 rushing offense? Like, where did that even come from?
So then you have to think, okay, is there another Brady situation if I end up taking the underdog? No, the Saints are not going to pull out a 2-minute drill and come to play comeback hero. I don't see that from either team. So for me, the +3.5 in the hook, yes, give me the Panthers all day. I love that.
Yeah, I like that we're getting 3 in the hook in the contest.
So then those are our two best bets that are automatically in. We're rolling with Kelly's best bet of the Raiders +9 against the Chiefs, and I am going with the Panthers +3.5 against the Saints. Kelly, you sent me your list, and I told you your list sucks.
Yep, you hate it. I hate my list too. But I will say this: now that I have the contest lines open, the fact that Ravens is 7.5, not 7, is really intriguing to me.
But we don't. Okay. So I don't even know if I want to touch that at all because Russell Henley wasn't practicing. Who is behind him?
Good point.
It's Thursday. He's not practicing. So you don't have Lamar Jackson. You don't have Henley. Huntley,
yeah.
I'm thinking PJ already.
Let me see what I've got here. I know you said he didn't practice, but I've actually heard that, well, there's a lot to be said about coaches that tell the truth and coaches that lie. So I don't actually want to take anybody's official thing, but I was told that could be Lamar. Even though he didn't practice, he is questionable according to the depth chart. And I don't even see Huntley on here. I don't even see him on the depth chart right now for injuries. So maybe he is a go.
Your guess is as good as mine. It was a Warren Sharp tweet.
Oh, okay. Well, then I trust it. If he said it didn't happen, it did not happen.
There's not too many people. Yeah. So Huntley was the right shoulder wrist remained limited at practice on Thursday. And then Lamar Jackson isn't practicing Thursday.
Yeah, but Lamar never practices. Let's be honest.
But he haven't played in weeks.
Talking about practice.
So there's really only one other game that I really do like. Let me see if I can convince you on it before we move on to other ones. And we touched up on it right at the beginning of this, and it was the Lions in the contest. It's +6.
Oh, it is +6.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nope.
I like that.
4.5. In the other contest, it's 6.
It's 6. Yep. That's kind of where I got. So here's my notes really quick before you say anything. If you play Green Bay, play it now. That was at -3.5. And then if Detroit gets eliminated, we know that line's going to shoot up prior to kick. And, listen, we talked about them being able to play spoiler. At 4.5, I do like the Packers. If it was 6, I could definitely probably get on board with the Lions in that play. But go ahead and tell me why you like the Lions, and I'll kind of tell you why I like the Packers.
Well, the Lions, of course, can only make the postseason with a win and a Seahawks loss. The Seahawks must lose. The Packers, if they win, they're in. If they lose, they're out. But I love the Lions, regardless of the line, because 2021 season, no quit. 2022 season, no quit. You think Dan Campbell is going to let any single player on this team say, oh, well, we're eliminated, I don't really care anymore? The answer is no. Dan Campbell wants to shove it up Aaron Rodgers' hoo-ha and say, you are not going to get into the playoffs. The Lions, they have covered 8 of the last 9 games on the road. I mean, they're 6th in rushing touchdown percentage. The Packers are absolutely vulnerable against the run, especially giving up rushing scores. So I trust Dan Campbell, one, to have his squad fighting to the end. And that's one of the reasons why they have covered so many late. But you can talk about Jared Goff's splits, how he only has 6 passing touchdowns on the road, but it's because they put a majority of the workload into the run game when traveling. Higher rushing yardage, higher rushing percentage, higher play percentage, higher rushing touchdown percentage. It is just becomes a run game, and this is why they are still able to put up 30 plus points when traveling, despite your Jared Goff not throwing those passing touchdowns. The Packers defense, 31st in rushing DVOA. The Lions, 4-0 against teams that are bottom 5 in that metric. Straight up. Even if Seattle does get a win, I can see the Lions fighting a play to keep Aaron Rodgers and company out of the playoffs.
So I didn't actually look this up, so somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe Green Bay was a 4-point underdog and they won outright in Detroit by 7. I believe they were a 4-point underdog. They might have been the favorite, but for whatever reason, I feel like they were the underdog. That final score is a little misleading now that I'm kind of looking at a couple of things. And that's because the Lions had 4 trips to the red zone.
Right.
And didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. I complain about the Packers probably more than anybody, especially their secondary. Poor Kevin King has been subjected to a lot of slander from me, while warranted, on Twitter. I get it. I get why you like the Lions here. I think it's just kind of one of those interesting plays, but I also kind of feel like there's been a couple of teams that have turned a corner, and the Packers is one of them.
Right.
And if you listen to Matt LaFleur's press conference, he's sitting there saying, listen, we're the only ones that believed in us, yada, yada, yada. We're playing now with they're in a different position, right? The Packers went from being a team that was always hunted. They were always the favorite. They were always, not always the favorite, but pretty much, right?
Right.
They had a big bullseye on them all the time. Now they get to be the hunters, not necessarily. Obviously, they are the favorite at home here in Green Bay. The weather is going to be beautiful, which does bode well for the Lions. And by beautiful, I mean, it's going to be cold, but there's not going to be any snow. There's not going to be any wind.
Right.
It's not going to be one of those like frozen tundra type games. And so something to consider there. There's a lot of back and forth. I feel like I can make an argument for either side here.
So you think it's too close to call?
I wish we had 6.
Is there any in the other contest? Yeah, it's on my other contest card. Then I'm going to look at your list that you sent me right now.
It's gross.
So the Titans, I'm opposite. I put the Jags. And I'm 0% chance that I am going to have Titans on our card when I am at the Jags game.
Why? You guys just win by a last minute field goal. You get the win, you're happy, and then Titans get the cover. Derrick Henry's a go for that game.
I'll have you know that for Christmas, I finally got my first NFL jersey, and it is Keen Henry. So I was thinking maybe I should wear my Keen Henry jersey and then wear my Titans or my Jags shoes. I was like, I can't. They're
gonna be like, what is wrong with her?
I can't.
It's gonna be like when I went to the Green Bay game this year and I wore all black. And I was cheering for Green Bay to win, but I was cheering for the Pats to cover. And everyone around me is like, wait, you're a New England fan? I'm like, no, I need the Pats to cover, but I need Green Bay to win. And they're like, what is wrong?
You make no sense. Please leave the stadium.
Yes.
So I'm not going to do it. Jags all the way. I can't do the Titans. Rams, I can make a case for. I do like the Rams only because, are they good now? Like, they're so late in the season.
Seems like it.
So why do you like the Rams? And that's a lot of points. Yeah.
It's a lot of points. Mainly, that's what I was looking at. As you mentioned, are the Rams good now? I'm confused. I don't know if the Rams are good now, but I can tell you this: the Rams seem to be a little bit more rejuvenated, if you will, with Baker Mayfield under center. I think that there's a little bit of swagger there. And again, this is another spoiler spot because the Seahawks get in if they win. If they don't win, LA doesn't get in either, but it doesn't matter. It's kind of like that, you didn't get in either. I expect to see a lot of, Cam Akers running the ball here because why? Seattle gives up a ton of yards on the ground. Though I will say their defense has been playing better, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the Rams offense is not anything to like, I can't wait to back them. Now,
Baker Mayfield, 0 passing touchdowns. You know how bad of a defense the Chargers have. And he was only able to put up 132 yards in a 31-10 loss. I'm not sure that I feel entirely good about backing the Rams at +6 against Seattle when they still have a shot here at the playoffs too.
I would agree with that. And listen, LA has not been great on the road as of late. But Seattle started off. Yep, Seattle started off red hot, and they've just been getting crushed by the number ever since. It's not
All right,
like
so your next
I
one.
would not lay it with them. Let's leave it at
So
that.
then your next one, the Bills. I have no idea how to play this game. I have no
I
idea
don't
how to
either.
play. How do you play the Bills? How do you play the Bengals? What do you do?
I don't know. I think you play on that we got some really good news today. I think that you play on that they're going to play really hard for, Hamlin. I think that you're going to get a like big sigh of relief from this team. I think also on the flip side, you could play that this has been a insane distraction, right? It has been. Of course it has been. Like they saw one of their teammates die on the field. So there, I could see, well, I think technically he did, and then they revived him. But either way,
Yeah.
it's really ridiculous to like see some of the criticism and some of the stuff that both sides have taken. And I think that could factor in if you wanted to make a case for the Pats, you could also use that same argument. So I didn't really want to necessarily use that, but I'm using it in a positive light, with Damar Hamlin getting, I don't know if he got upgraded from critical condition, but we know he woke up and the very first thing he said to the doctor was, "Did we win?" And he said, "Yeah, you won at the game of life." But
so before, sorry to interrupt, but before, I mean, we can continue on and talk about it, but 5 hours ago when the contest lines were posted, they ended up putting to confirm due to the various uncertainties about the Bills Patriots game the Bills Patriots game is unavailable in the contest and will not be added.
Okay, I missed that. Okay.
So then we don't have that as an option.
Okay, we do not have that as an option.
I agree with everything that you're saying, and because of all the positive news today, very much so. If you want to bet this like in real life, that's a good angle to take. The positivity can definitely translate onto the field for week 18. So then the other game that you liked was the Packers and I liked the Lions. So then we don't agree on anything based off of your list.
I will say this, the Bears are now 7.5 in the contest. I liked him at 5.5, but I just can't trust Nathan Peterman.
I know nothing about Nathan Peterman. Like, I don't even know what school he went to.
It doesn't matter. I don't know if the guy's ever won a football game, Pam. I'm going to look it up right now because I would not be surprised. Okay. I would not be surprised to see if
what he looks like.
He threw an interception versus the Bills. He threw an interception last year when he would. Yeah. Well, listen, it's not great. His stats are not great. Okay.
The entire reason why you take the Bears is because of Justin Fields. Solely. He is the offense.
You're right. So he went to the University of Tennessee.
So as bad of a defense as the Vikings are.
God, the Vikings have been like, I've just been wanting to fade the Vikings. And yeah, well, here we are. I've also been wanting to fade the Eagles, but now they're 14-point favorites in real life, which is just insane.
That is dumb.
Freaking sane.
Well, because the Giants potentially are going to be sitting players.
Yeah.
So you don't have that as okay. So then how about one game with how do you feel? What's your opinion on Steelers Browns?
Man, Mike Tomlin, come on. I love that man. He is such a great coach. He's got this team kind of playing better. I mean, they just beat the Ravens, which did not help me at all. I had, the under in that game, and I'm going, come on. Can't you guys at least do something here? I just don't really love the spot. I mean, they are technically Pittsburgh is still alive, but they need the Dolphins and the Patriots both to lose, which Patriots are a touchdown underdog. Dolphins are a 1-point underdog with Skylar Thompson. Steelers have really owned Cleveland lately, Pam, and that's why I kind of lean towards them. They've covered 5 of their last 7. I do think that Kenny Pickett needs some more time. Yeah. I think that he can be a liability, but I do think he's made really good strides. Deshaun Watson, on the other hand, has not impressed. He has not impressed me whatsoever. 5 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. I can see exactly why a lot of people like the Steelers here. This line is always like right around 3. It's either 2.5, 3, or 3.5. Every single time these guys play, it drives me freaking bonkers. So it's 2.5 in the contest.
Right.
And I feel like it's almost like Come on, this is so easy. Just take the Steelers. Just take the Steelers. It's so easy.
Well, yes, I like the Steelers too.
Yeah, no, I do.
Or as bad as, Deshaun Watson has looked, I'm really more so impressed with Pittsburgh finally having a run game. They're figuring it out. Maybe it's not consistent week after week, but it is there and they're showing signs that they can build on it for next year. Najee Harris, he has rushed at least 86 yards in 5 of the last 8 games, including he just came off rushing 111 yards against the Ravens. He needs to do more of that because the Browns defense is absolute garbage. Bottom 8 against the run. Just 2 weeks ago, the Browns allowed 152 rushing yards in a 17-10 loss to the Saints. Tell me that Najee Harris and the Steelers cannot do the same. You're talking about Mike Tomlin, as good of a head coach that he is. They're still in playoff contention, maybe. I'm more interested in Pittsburgh sitting at 8-8. Don't you think that Mike Tomlin wants to keep his record alive?
Yes.
15 straight seasons without a losing record. This game is going to determine, are you a winner or are you a loser, Tomlin? We're going to figure it out.
I agree with you. I like the Steelers here. I do. If it was 3.5, I would say no. 2.5, like I said, it looks so easy, but sometimes they just are that easy.
Want to plug it in?
Yep.
Because we don't have options.
Slim pickings.
Because we are slim pickings. We got the Raiders, the Panthers, the Steelers, Giants. We don't know if they're sitting players. Do you have an opinion on Jets Dolphins? Initially, it was a pick, and it's Jets now -1.
Yeah, I mean, we got Mike White and Skylar Thompson, and it's been nice to see Mike White get brought back down to earth because everybody was freaking out. I'm like, okay, he had one good game. Everybody relax.
It's because they had Zach Wilson as a sample.
Of course.
It was a very low base. All he had to do was throw one pass, somebody catch it, and oh my God, he is so good. That everybody just got confused there for a second. They just forgot.
So here's my concern about the Dolphins. No Teron Armstead, Xavier Howard, no Bradley Chubb, no Eric Fisher.
Right.
That bothers me. Skylar Thompson did get his first touchdown pass last week, and it totally screwed me on my under in that game. Thank you, Skylar. K-State fans quickly reminded me I should be very happy for him. Of course I should, but it was still very frustrating just because it was not like a game that looked like it was going to go over for the entire game, and then it did. Mm-hmm. As far as Miami goes, they've lost 5 straight, but 1-score games. We know games land 1. We know games land 2. I don't know, Pam. I don't like this at all.
All right, well then we will move it along. There's no point. Rams, Seahawks. I do lean to the Seahawks. You already talked about liking the Rams.
Yeah.
I like the Lions. Browns, I like Steelers are on our card. Texans, Colts. That's an interesting one because it's Texans. They need to. We're talking about motivation. Where is it? The Texans should be motivated to not win this game so they can have the number 1 NFL draft pick. At the same token, Lovie Smith, does he want to just maybe say, hey, I'm leaving anyway. Let me just get a win and y'all don't get the number 1 draft pick.
Oh God, that just looks like such a
Colts
dumpster
are
fire.
Garbage, and I know
they are.
It's Sam Ehlinger. That's
Now that they've quarterback flopped 87 times this year, it is going to be Sam, not Nick Foles, right? He's out.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to double check that. Look, like you said, it's going to be interesting. Are they going to lay down? I don't know how to guess that. I will say that they've been great on the road in the division, covered 5 of their last 6 divisional road games.
You want to plug it in?
I'm writing it down. Let's see what else we got. What do you think about Russell Wilson?
He's playing better. But like I said, he's playing better because he played the Chiefs, and the Chiefs just let him play well.
Do whatever. They're up 28-0. Ridiculous.
Did the Chargers say that they're going to sit players? Because initially when this line opened, it was Chargers -3, and now it is Chargers +3.
Yes.
So they did already officially roll
they basically said, hey, listen, yeah, we're not gonna try in this game, but they are, because even those guys that are backups, even the guys that aren't sitting, as you mentioned, they still have stuff to play for, right? Like let's be real. Like no one's just gonna lay down.
in this game, there's actually a lot to play for as far as incentives. You have quarterback
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. He has 452 completions. He only needs 33 to break Tom Brady's single season record. I don't know how important that is to him. I haven't seen any quotes saying that he's interested in it. But wide receiver DeAndre Carter, he has $200,000 that's up for grabs based off of two different incentives on receptions and on receiving yards. And then you have tight end Gerald Everett, who has 250,000 on the line for 5 receptions. So
I will say this, the Broncos have never had a winless AFC West season. Interesting. Broncos led the Chargers by double digits before they lost 19-16. That's right, week 6 in overtime. I kind of like the Broncos, and I never liked the Broncos.
At -3?
It's so frustrating.
If you like it, plug it in. Cool.
I mean, look, the Chargers are already in the playoffs. That's my big thing.
For the first time with Justin Herbert, yeah.
They're there.
Who's the backup? So then who's the backup? If it's not Herbert, who's playing?
That's a great question.
If we don't even know the answer to that, how are we considering like
this is the problem with week 18. Chase Daniel, I knew that. Sorry, I had to Google it, but my brain was fried because I literally said on another show earlier that the Vikings are playing the Lions, not the Bears. And I thought about it after the show got done. I go, how did I screw that up? It's just one of those weeks. There's a lot of moving parts. We're seeing a ton of backup quarterbacks playing. And it's just, like you said, Brian Dable says he's just going to rest half of his team. It is what it is. But yes, Chase Daniel, we all know, is a good backup, right?
Okay. Broncos.
But you're right. If Broncos are +3, I would argue a lot more for them. -3, Broncos have they're just so bad, but they've finally been covering, and they do own the Chargers against the spread. I'll say that much.
If you want to plug it in, we can.
Make it our 5th one. Anything else that you like?
I mean, okay, so it's ugly, but I guess all of week 18 is. I kind of like the 49ers.
Okay.
And I know that it is 14 spread and it's week 18, but I can totally see the Cardinals only scoring like 3 points. So it's a big spread for the final week. But the 49ers, you have to stay in rhythm when you have Brock Purdy behind center. He's only started 5 games. You would kind of be crazy to sit this offense down going into the postseason with a rookie quarterback who has a handful of games under his belt. So I can't imagine that he's going to be sitting all 4 quarters. How I envision this scenario is San Francisco has averaged 35 points at home with Brock Purdy, limiting opponents to only 15 points per game. The Cardinals offense is complete trash. They just gave up on the season already. This is a scenario where I see the 49ers dominate early and sit players late. So is a backdoor potential there? Maybe. But the defense is still so strong. How does the Cardinals put it more than 10?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's got an okay defense just because they've been giving up, less, allowing 25 or less in 5 of their last 7, but they're not going to win this game. But 14 is a ton. I do wonder motivation-wise for the 49ers, but you're right. You don't Brock Purdy needs all the reps he can get. But if he gets hurt, who goes in? Who's going to play?
How about
I don't know.
The Commanders?
I think they also have to keep their foot on the gas because then they can get the top spot over Philadelphia, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They're still in contention for the number 1 seed, but Philadelphia has to
and
lose.
They've covered 6 of their last 7.
So it's a big spread, but
I'm going to write it down just in case.
I really just don't see how Cardinals put up more than 3. Like literally 3. That is what I see. 3 points. So let's do. I'm putting
it's like 28-3, and we're going, why didn't we lay 14? Yeah, I could see that too.
Mm-hmm. Versus Cardinals. The only other option that I would want to maybe consider is looking at the 49ers, Chargers, Broncos. I don't care for the Bucks, Falcons. I'm not a Desmond Ridder fan. Panthers, Saints, we already have that. Bengals, Raiders, Vikings, Bears. The only other one would be Commanders +7 at home to the Cowboys. It is Sam Howell. I like him as a quarterback. I think he'll be just fine.
I know nothing about him. Where did he go to college?
UNC. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hello, Miss College.
Little light bulb just went off over my head. I do recall that now. Yeah. Let's see what I got here. Line open 4.5. There is some 7.5s popping up. It is 7 in the contest, but of course it's popping up. Why wouldn't it? Everybody is like Sam Howell. Why would we want to do that? Why Heineke's not playing is beyond me, but Washington just hasn't been great offensively, right? They're averaging 16 and a half points over the last 5 games, covered only one of those. How many people are playing on defense? All of them? Have we heard who's sitting out?
I haven't seen anything about players sitting other than just
I haven't either.
swap.
And Dallas, obviously, their defense
They're
helps out a lot.
They could still win the NFC East only if Philadelphia loses.
And they're playing at the same time, correct?
Playing at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think Philadelphia is going to lose, but I mean, it sounds like Brian Dable's trying to just hand them the W. That is interesting. This line is very, very odd with Sam Howell being quarterback. Is he 3 points worse than Taylor Heineke? Probably not. But I don't, like I said, some of these guys that you haven't seen since college, or at least I haven't, you kind of have to wonder. They have to be able to pass the eye test, right? And that's what I'd mentioned about Jarrett Stidham. We've seen it with Brock Purdy. There's been a couple of guys that have really stepped up and showed out this year. And then there's been a lot that have just been
on the
brutal.
road. The Cowboys just haven't really been great, though. They lost in the last 3 road games. They lost to the Packers. They destroyed the Vikings, but I mean, that was just snowball of Vikings being.
Do you think it was weird that Ron Rivera, like, I didn't see the press conference, I just saw the cliff notes on Twitter, that he didn't know that they were eliminated?
So I've heard the only argument that I heard that I agree with is that in the moment he shouldn't have known. In the game, it doesn't matter. Like if you are in playoff contention or not, you're playing to win a game regardless. Now post game, yeah, he probably should have known. But so I like that in game it was focused, and then afterward it was just like, oh, maybe ask like, okay, did that hurt us in any way? Before
maybe if something crazy happens, Major Tutty's gonna
what I'm more concerned with was that Rivera decided to play Carson Wentz instead of Heineke.
Yeah,
that was the bad decision for me. I'm not upset about Sam Howell because it's week 18 and why not? Let's give him a try let's see what we have. And I personally do really love Sam Howell. He was one of the bets that I made for him to win the Heisman. But his road splits were pretty bad. But he is playing at home in a stadium that he's been practicing in, so he should be good. Dallas on the road, in the last 2 home games after destroying the Vikings, they lost to the Jags and they beat the Titans by 14. The Commanders do have a good defense. This is back-to-back road games. There's a potential here that the Cowboys may sit, but I mean, Dak Prescott still leads in interceptions thrown. So
Dak Prescott did just get upgraded to probable this weekend. His knee has been bothering him for a couple weeks now. That's interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to look and see who else, if there's anybody else out.
You're like, please, anybody.
I just want to know. Like, that's the whole thing, is you actually, like, some of these, you actually have to dive deep. Like, from what I was told to start the week is Derrick Henry won't be playing against the Jags. And now all of a sudden, here comes Derrick Henry. And
here comes, I mean, it is Thursday. We're recording
there's conflicting information.
Night. Yeah, we're recording this Thursday night. There's still an entire day left to practice for Friday. Things might change Saturday based off of those 2 games. I don't know. Anything could change from now until then. That's what makes this contest a little bit more difficult. And it's picking 5 games. So you love the Raiders, I love the Panthers, and trying to pick the other 3. Hey, it is what it is.
I actually really do like the Steelers. And I could really get on board with the Niners. I really could, as you mentioned, with the Cardinals. So then to me, it's what I've got left is Texans, Browns, and what was the last one?
Not Browns.
Commanders. No, sorry. Texans, Broncos, Commanders.
Okay. So I guess between those 3, Texans, Broncos, Washington, probably not Broncos because it's never Broncos for me.
Yeah, well, that and they're a 3-point favorite. The line's off, so we'll cross them off.
So then Texans and Washington.
Oh, Texans 7 in the contest. Washington, no, sorry. Commanders 7 in the contest. Texans 2.5.
I like both, to be honest. I would probably lean to Washington. I don't know.
I like Washington, the fact that they're home. This is just, God, this is like painful. Sorry to everybody watching. This is like,
I don't dislike, I think Washington,
okay.
just because it is still a good defense, and you have a couple of variables. Dak Prescott injured, already throwing the most interceptions in the league when healthy.
Yep. Yeah.
So is he going
Absolutely.
to play? Maybe he gets less time. Maybe they rest him. Sam Howell, he's a very capable quarterback. And it's not like the defense for Dallas, solid pass rush, yes, but he is also a mobile quarterback. So I can see him definitely utilizing his legs to scramble, get out of situations. Let's do Washington.
Okay.
Let's
do it.
Kelly's best bet is Raiders +9 against the Chiefs. My best bet is the Panthers +3.5 against the Saints. And together we love the Steelers -2.5 against the Browns. 49ers.
Did you say we love?
Okay, we like. Together
we like. Pam, you know what happened 2 weeks ago, last week on Twitter? Sorry, it's all been a blur. Some guy got mad at you because you were too confident in your video for work.
I know, I was too confident. Yeah, but you know, your voice, it said, look, I get it. I have said that before. You want to look for inflection, but I also did a tweet. I will tell you people, we have to create content. This is our literal job that we do 5 days, 7 days out of the week. When somebody says, Pam, I need you to give me a best bet, and my response is, I don't have one. Well, I need a video anyway. Here's the video. And then I do a little tweet that says, I had to give something. I don't love this week. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm open and honest, and that's my transparency. So there we go.
I love it.
Back to the card. Raiders +9 against the Chiefs. The Panthers +3.5 against the Saints. Steelers -2.5 against the Browns. 49ers 14-point favorites to the Cardinals. And Washington +7 against the Cowboys. Sam Howell, let's go. I don't mind our card. I like it. Kelly, what are we going this week?
You said it. We're going 5-0, Pam.
Fingers crossed. Let's do it. Week 18, 5-0.
I can't even say it with a straight face because this will be the week that we go 5-0. It's something ridiculous, sifting through the muck and the mud that is week 18. God, thanks NFL. We just really needed this extra week to try to guess who's going to play, who's hurt, who's going to play a full game. So this is going to be a fun one.
Everyone is going to have that same difficulty. It's not just targeting.
Oh, for sure. We all do.
So much fun.
It does.
Week 18, you got to love it. Play for incentives. Look at player props. You want to target the ones that have incentives and records to play for. That's what you want to do instead of looking at spreads. So that is our card for week 18 of the NFL. I want to thank everybody for following me and Kelly along this season. It has been great. Once again, Kelly, I always appreciate you because I feel in back-to-back seasons, I have learned so much. I've become so much more comfortable with the NFL. I didn't start watching the NFL until 2016. Anything
That's so
before
crazy
that,
to me.
I have no idea. You talk about these old-time quarterbacks, and I'm like, who? I literally have no idea. I know Tony Romo because of my dad. That's about it.
Exactly. No, I kind of miss some those old school guys, but the NFL is definitely a lot more exciting these days as far as the crazy mix-ups. But yeah, as far as betting goes, I'm glad that we really showed a lot of discipline this year. Really, for the most part, only bet my best bets or something that I was also very confident in. And that's what the NFL really is. I think, I get texts every single Sunday. What else do you like? This is all that I like. No, you have to like more. Okay, well, here's 8 leans. Here was my card on Monday morning. Is that what you wanted? Now, good luck.
Exactly. And even last week when I didn't love the Texans, it was still your best bet. It was my best bet. I still bet it because I stuck to my word that I am betting only my best bets. It didn't come to fruition, but I kept to my word that that's what I was going to do. Still have a good season because I was disciplined and stayed to what the plan was all along. So, Kelly, I appreciate you. Thanks for hopping on. That does it for week 18 of the NFL. We are going 5-0. Do make sure to follow Kelly on Twitter at KellyInVegas. You can follow me at Twitter and PamelaM35. Leave your comments and let us know what you think of our card. And that does it for another episode, the final episode of the season of Stack Stats.